Hello, and welcome back to episode 5 of Underwhelming Barrage. Guys, we made it to 5, and tonight we have our usual Tyler, Ian, and CJ with special guest, your boy, Bobby Sapphire. Mike, happy to have you
What up?
this week. How's it going?
That's great. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to enter the fray here.
Are you
Absolutely.
ready to be underwhelmed?
I feel like my life is a series of being underwhelmed. For example, instead of getting this show on the road, CJ's been practicing with Cal Ketsis
What? What? For
when we
Worlds?
when we
CJ,
could have
explain
been
yourself.
A, play testing for Worlds, or B, recording the show.
What?
CJ, how's it going? How's Cal Kestis going?
When people don't read him, he's great. He's so good. Like if people like are just like, I'm gonna put my general's blade, and you're just like, I'll tap your guy. Great. When they read him though, gets a little dicey.
Yeah. Well, speaking
Little
of
dicey.
reading, I had several people at my PQ in West Virginia read my Ray Leader.
Oh,
So that was a fun
It really
wow.
time.
sneaks up on you.
It
Mhm.
does, yeah. So I won a PQ. You know, I'm sure the whole world has to, to know this information, but
You finally
Congrats.
qualified for Worlds.
finally qualified for Worlds through a PQ, and it feels good to join Ian and Tyler as a PQ winner.
So is that PQ at the Center for Kids Who Can't Read Good?
Yes, judged by Derek Zoolander.
Did
So,
did you put it in our trophy room next to the store showdown wins?
oh my God. Oh, it's amazing. So,
Virtual trophy room.
yeah.
Virtual trophy room.
You gotta wear a VR headset for that.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
my
it's got a
God.
whole tour. Got a curator and everything.
Do
So,
you guys sell VR branded KTOD virtual headsets? That would be sick.
The
Yeah,
slip
they just have
covers, I think.
stickers on them with their AI art stickers.
so tonight we have a special show for you guys. There's a couple big things coming up. First of all, tomorrow. So as of this recording, tomorrow is I think the last like meaningful stream prior to Worlds, and that is the ban list announcement. So we'll talk about if we think there's going to be a ban list, if we think it's fine how it is. We'll kind of jump into that. Yesterday, also, as of this recording on Monday, Mike posted a video on the KTOD YouTube about Tyler Parrott's article on the website talking about year one of the game and just a brief look into year two. So we'll discuss that in depth about how we feel about the health of the game and just about that article overall. And then we had some viewers submitted questions over the last few weeks, and we're going to dive into some of those. One is about the alternative formats, draft, sealed, Twin Suns, trilogy, and if there's any of that we want to see in a more like competitive event, maybe not worlds per se, but like a sector or something like that. And then we'll talk about what we think is going to be the biggest meta share of set five leaders in day two. And finally, we'll end on card evaluations. There's been a question about how we kind of evaluate a card and what changes if maybe your teammates or someone else kind of disagrees with you. So, with that, we can just jump right into the first category, which is going to be about the FFG article by Tyler. And I'm going to let Mike start this since his video garnered so much attention this week. Mike, how do you feel about this whole article thing?
Well, I had a lot of feelings on it. I don't want to belabor all my points from the video, but essentially, we got this recap from Tyler. It was all about year one, even though year one passed quite a while ago. And it was really on design and development, which, there are plenty of things that we can talk about just about design and development. I don't even want to get into OP, where we could fill a canyon about all the issues there. But I think my biggest takeaway is that I want cards to be powerful. And some of the feedback I got from, the more casual subset of players is that's kind of like going to hurt the game in the long run. But I just am sick of playing the same like starter deck level game of like everything we're doing is value plays. Every deck that's good is making value trades and eking out an advantage and winning the game. And one of the things I loved about other games, and specifically like Destiny, my team did really well at this, was like finding a different way to win, either by mill or by direct damage. We just don't have that in this game. I thought we had it with Boba Fett last set when we got burned, but it just was like I tried so hard to make the burn deck work, and it just didn't work. And it's not like I can even look at set 5 as like, oh, maybe I get something new for my Boba deck, because they didn't put any space in it. They've basically like taken space out of the game after just giving us space. So like we're going backwards. FFG is giving us like, it's like Trump trying to reinvigorate the coal mining as like the prime power source in America. We're going backwards to just the ground arena. We're full on ground arena right now.
Yeah. Ian, what do you think about all this?
I mean, I definitely agree with you. Like, I wish there was more decks that like enable discard synergies. Like, we finally have this Kylo leader, which is cool. I think he like kind of missed the nail. Like they didn't really, in my opinion, make him good enough. But with that being said, it's cool that we have something like that. But like, I want more of that. Like, I think in his article he said that Afra was a huge miss, and it's like, well, everybody saw that and was like, oh, this is a cool ability, this is powerful. I wonder what kind of synergy we'll have for her. And then they like don't even print her droids, which are like would be clear cards to give synergy to this leader that you just failed. Like, no wonder it failed. Like you just like released half of a leader essentially. Like, I feel like we've, even in this set, like Ahsoka got her ship right, like, and that Ahsoka leader is probably just for draft, like, but she still got something. Like, I don't know. I do feel like there was a lot of stuff where it's like they teased us that like, oh, maybe we can play the game this way, but never fully committed to it. So then you get like half of these pieces that like don't actually do something, and then they wonder like, oh, that's weird. Why did this fail? And it's like, well, yeah, it's because you guys you didn't finish the job that you were doing. And it's like sometimes I've seen in card games where they have like block sets, like in Magic, where it's like, oh, we're gonna release some cards in this first set, and you're really gonna find the synergy when that third set comes out. And that's like kind of a fun exploration, because especially in like a draft format where you get like one pack from the 3 different blocks, and then you can try to like make the synergies happen in draft. Like, that's a cool thing, but that doesn't exist in this game. Like, there's no block sets. It like Bobby said, like set 4 all space, set 5 no space. So there's like no synergy between them. It's kind of just like, okay, well, how do I build the best value? Like, what are the best cards, good stuff cards I can put in my deck? Which I think is why we saw so many Data Vault decks last set, right? Especially at the end, it was just like who could outvalue each person, whose value engine was stronger, and who drew more consistently. Which, like, by all means, I'm fine with that. It makes games pretty consistent, but I do think that there's some flavor fails there,
Yeah,
and
no,
I don't think he really
I
addressed
agree.
that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Tyler, what do you think?
It's no, I'm not the play designer, but the a lot of the words that Mike said on the video, really stuck out to me. I really hated, the idea. They didn't really necessarily confirm or deny it, but the idea of like, that every single card they printed essentially just got nerfed because they were too scared of the power level, and that just feels bad. Like the idea that Boba came out being super overpowered because it was the only thing that wasn't nerfed, and everything else got nerfed. It feels tough, I say it immediately. But I wish we just had a lot more playable cards. There's a lot of the current metagame where aspects are underdeveloped. Things like yellow villainy were quite good with around Boba, but when you take Boba and Jango out, now we're missing them. A lot of the classic aggro side, we don't another good point where rebel leads heroism for aggro, but we don't really have at least tribe, or at least even set up for villainy or villainy. Imperial didn't do it, or First Order in the new set doesn't do it. We just don't have anything to really build off of from other sets, and it just feels like we're getting a ragtag grouping of cards.
Well, it's a lot of half decks, right? Like, I mean, Lando
Yeah.
is a good example. Afra, there's so many half decks.
A lot of fringe out there now, though.
I think you nailed it there in that last comment, Tatta, is that they keep wanting each set to be like all of one thing. It's like, oh, this set is all the smuggling bounties, but you're never gonna get any more. So it's like,
Yeah.
okay, so those leaders that you printed that are pretty awesome that people want to play are now never gonna get better, or like 8 sets from now, maybe gonna be better. And it's the same thing with all these different synergies. They just keep doing it over and over again. It's like, hey, last set was all ships. So you no good ships this one because all the ships are last one. Like, why? You don't have to design that way. It just seems like nonsense to me. You plan these sets out so far in advance, you can have a little bit in each one. They come out like pretty rapidly. You can have a little bit in each one. Like just put one more smuggle card, one random rare bounty, like something to spice it up.
Yeah, but think about it, CJ. Like they're doing it backwards because what if they printed a broken smuggle card right now or a broken exploit card right now? It like the ship has sailed. We would just put it in the best value deck we have right now.
I know.
They
you're right.
needed
You're
to
right.
make the leaders good because if the
Yeah.
leaders were really good, then it wouldn't matter. We'd be able to like build
But-
around that,
but
and
that-
they'd be changed to the leader, but they're not.
And that brings me to the other point I have is this is my real concern, and I don't want this to come across wrong. I don't want to put anyone down, but man, when he said in that article that he thought rebels were the mid-range deck, like how are you?
Well, maybe if you play them like Tatta, where you're playing
No.
Mon Mothma and
No,
Pride
that's what I mean,
drawing
but,
a
like,
million cards in a turn. That's
no
mid
one-
range.
Lieutenant, my Mon Mothma.
I still remember when they printed Rebel Assault. I was like, yeah, that's it. That's your aggro deck. Like, no question. Like, you did it. Like,
Easy.
easy.
Yeah.
We knew that before a quarter of the set was spoiled. We knew Rebels, like yellow red Rebels, was the aggro deck. Like, it's very obvious. So the idea that they didn't know that is very concerning, and it really concerned. Like, for me as the player, when we think of balance and all these, like, I'm worried that it's not going to get fixed. If your year in review didn't say, hey, I thought it was this, but actually it was this after seeing it, like, it didn't even mention something he learned about it or something he came to a conclusion on, it makes me think that he still thinks that, which is even worse, and like it's scarier, right? Like he printed Chewie. What is Chewie, a mid-range card? Like, yeah, like really though, is he? Like
So
maybe in some
anti-control
decks.
card, duh.
Oh yeah, just play it on
Well,
turn.
for
right.
me,
on
there were
green.
2 parts in that article that really stood out. Well, I mean, one in particular, in that they called set 1 a masterpiece, and that
Oh man, that was unbelievable. I
that was
thought
like-
Mike was joking when he said that, because I didn't read the article and Mike
Yeah.
said that. I'm like, oh, he's just being facetious. No, like he says that he
I
wrote
had
that
the
down.
quotes on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, there were still a lot of misses in set 1, but set 2, I don't think they were harsh enough about set 2. Like, I know you want to pat yourself on the back for, being a pretty good designer overall, but like set 2 was not good. Like, you had all these half leaders and half decks. Like, I mean, Lando is a perfect example. Like, he's going to rotate out in like 6-7 months, right? And we're never going to be able to play Lando. Like, I think he's a good leader, but there's just not enough smuggle, and they didn't add any more smuggle in set 4. There's none in set 5. There's probably not going to be any in set 6. So he's just never going to get played, and it's just this is kind of the world that we live in.
It's interesting too, because like you see the disparity between leaders that care about keywords versus traits in like totally different lights, because like they're fine with making Cad Bane better every set when they release more Underworld cards.
Yeah, tons of Underworld stuff every
but
set.
because they like had this trait smuggle that just isn't, or not trait, I guess it's a keyword, whatever it is,
Right.
the keyword smuggle, and it's just not in any other set, like those leaders are going to stay stagnant, and even with the minuscule amount of power creep that they have every set, like they'll just get outclassed eventually.
Yeah. That's just how it's going.
And we don't have a lot of time left, but we didn't even get into the stats problem, like, which I know Mike talked about in the art, like reading through the article a little bit. Like, we didn't even get into how they stat leaders, which is still nonsense.
I mean, we could talk about this whole article
They
all
just nerf
day.
'em.
And there's holes all over the place.
Like, this guy's a 3/4. Like, what are we doing?
Well, if you think they nailed it in that article, CJ, wait until the world stream and the devs are casting. then we'll have a new topic. For the
wow,
show.
I've never seen anyone Fleet Lieutenant as Sabine before.
I do think that we should give a little bit of, like, I mean, we kind of just shit on them a bunch. So, in my opinion, I would like to give a little bit of praise. I do think that once the player base figured out set 1, the end of set 1, I did feel like the meta was at a truly like amazing place.
Yeah.
Because like it felt like every week I went to a new store showdown, and it was just, even with like the 20 same odd people that were going or whatever it was like a completely different meta. People were adapting on the fly. Like it really felt like the Wild West, and that was fun. And we kind of had that again in the end of set 4, but there was some dark times after that kind of like didn't
I
like the,
I think
think
they
that
designed a
they're
great. They designed a great game.
yeah,
But
that's what
I
I was gonna
know
say. I think
me
that
and
they're
Mike have been here. Like
great
they designed a
designers.
great Destiny game too. Like
Yeah,
they do a
they
good job out the gate.
yes,
But like it's
exactly.
what you do after.
They are good designers. Like I don't want to imply and shit on them and say
Oh.
that they're not. They are good. I just think that more often than not, basically always, they're too scared to push the envelope and do something like
yeah.
different. Like every
Yeah.
deck is like kind of linear, right? Like they need to like design something that kind
Just
of
give us
breaks the
something.
mold a little bit. Yeah.
Just give us something that we can leverage.
Do
Yeah.
you guys think that that's partially because of how the sequencing of like action versus action is linear on its own?
No, because they did it in
No.
Destiny. Like,
Yeah,
Destiny
no,
was the same exact thing.
Yep, and we could like leverage our deck building. We could build like we could find ways to like do something different, and it's
Yeah.
just it's very few and
Yeah.
far between here. Like, yeah, you can build a pure space rush aggro deck, right? But like, you're still gonna throw barrage in it if it's green. You know, you're still gonna throw no good to me dead in it if it's yellow. You're gonna have those ways to interact because you just need to eke value somewhere.
Yeah.
So
Do you just one more thing? I'm sorry,
ahead.
Todd.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you want to go on.
Go ahead.
Do you think that their article that they made a couple of months ago, I think it was now, where they said like they really don't want mill strategies to be a viable like way to win? Like, do you think that kind of hampers and kind of goes against what we're talking about here too? Because like that is an alternate win con, but they're saying like out the gate that they kind of don't want that in there. Like, do you think they feel that's that same way about other alternative strategies to win?
Yep, absolutely. And I have even I can't say how and where I heard this, but I also know that they're specifically not printing any combos. Any combos that are going to occur are only going to occur naturally when players find them. They're not going to build a combo.
I mean, like an
deck.
infinite combo, right?
Even just like things working together more than K2 triggering Cassian.
No. Remember, there was a tank that did 1 damage to every unit. Do you remember that?
That's a
Well,
great
that card?
segue to the ban conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's great, CJ. Thanks for setting that up.
Nailed it.
But we're gonna move right into the banning. So tomorrow, as of this recording, so it'll be yesterday when this airs. The FFG stream about possible
Meta
bans
updates
and,
too.
Yeah, the meta update. So Tyler, I'm gonna let you start this one off. What do you think about the meta? Do you think anything needs to go? Force throw, data vault. What do you think?
I don't think banning Data Vault will change anything. I think for those players that are playing green at this point, they're just going to be shoving, classic UK style, shoving more cards into it. They've now gotten the feeling. They don't care for the 3 health at this point. It's just, why not? Why not at this point? Like, does the 3 health really matter?
No, they have
It
big
does
hands.
help.
I
But-
think if you're a Sabine player, it matters. I think I've only
Yes.
heard the call for the Data Vault ban from people who are known to play Sabine.
CJ.
I have never called for the ban. I don't give a crap.
Yeah.
You can play Data Vault you want.
So Tyler, what do you think about force throw?
It's a very good card. It's going to be very strong. Set 5 added a lot of early curve force units. It's going to make it very annoying for decks that aren't prepared for it. I think it's just going to be a pivotal meta piece that you're going to have to play around. Similar to how Django was coming in. You need to know how to play around, Django's Zoss and, what happens in this board state. You need to kill Django or be ready to kill Django on flip. Same DJ and Tech. It's just going to be a thing coming into set 5 you need to prepare against. If we go into Galactics and, the 64 decks, the top 64 is all playing red, playing force throw, yeah, I can see it. I think we can see, quarter. It's probably still over the quantity that you probably want to see, especially with how diverse testing has been. I think a lot of people are going to be playing a lot of different stuff. I don't think they're going to ban anything.
So you mentioned force throw, being like prepared for it in the same breath as being prepared for like Boba and DJ and Django, cards that are banned, I might add. Do you think that force throw is easier or harder to prepare for than something like a Boba or a Django?
I think it's it's more about in-play decisions
I mean, I'm
rather
kind of backing
than
you
deck
into a corner
construction.
here because you set
Yeah.
yourself up for it. But
No, I think it's more about in-play decisions. Setting up your hand, to be prepared if they force throw you, or trading off units early. More sitting there and just trading off, compared to DJ. You had to prepare very specific answers to actually deal with the tech DJ.
yeah,
A
I don't
force unit
think
on
that force
2
throw is
doesn't
something
necessarily
that you
need it.
can
Yeah, so
really
like
prepare for.
here's the problem with that argument,
Yes,
Tyler, is that we have Kiadi Mundi, and so you just have a million cards in hand, and I'm just gonna throw my crate dragon at whatever you have and lose no tempo myself.
Yeah, dude, stick your metal ceremonies in your deck. I'm totally
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You.
Like that used to be the strategy because that's how it was played, but now because you have so much card advantage, no, your leader's just dead. So you better not play a leader that matters. And I'll give you a secret why people are looking at Han 2. It's because the leader does nothing when it's deployed. So they don't care what dies. Like it has nothing to do, like ability's cool, but it has an ability no matter what. So like you can't even play any of your cool leaders because guess what? They're just dead. And you're either going to get ECL Vadered or you're going to get just randomly one cost, discard a card from your hand and kill a guy. Like it's insane. I am surprised.
Yeah, we have a one cost kill your leader now. Like we've never had that before.
No, we have.
Where it was
it's been around, but like it's never been as turned
now it's
on.
just efficient.
We had a zero. We have a zero cost kill your leader in Bamboozle. They keep doing this. Like they make these cards, and that's why I get worried about the design thing. It's because they keep making these cards, and I don't think they understand how they interact with the rest of the stuff. Like I think they have in their head how people are going to use these. Like they're going to tap that guy and return the saber to his hand. They're going to like make your opponent discard a card and hope they hit a card that does something. Like I don't think they're actually realizing the power of these cards, and it's concerning because the game is so weak overall. So when you do find something like this, all the strategies are so equalized that it just really breaks it.
Yeah.
And that's where my concern is.
CJ, on the like design philosophy that you mentioned there, like, are you comfortable with things that in the game that kill leaders outright in general? It just have to be appropriately costed? Like, is Rivals Fall fine?
Yeah, Rivals Fall is fine because it costs 6, and like you can it's coming, right? Like, and you can play around. It's just like how Takedown kills Sabine. Yeah, that stinks, but like you can organize your turn in a way to know it's there. You don't have to flip. There are a lot of options. You can't play around a force throw. Like, yeah, you can hope they tap all the way out, but even worse, the card like Bamboozle, right? And we saw that last set. You couldn't even it legitimately negated like 80% of the new leaders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And force throw is going to do a very similar thing, and I think that's the problem with the card. I know it's a negative experience when your opponent luckily throws it, hits one of your cards on turn 1, you feel bad. That's not the strength of the card. The strength of the card is that a good player can just completely nullify your strategy for one resource.
Yeah, Mike, what do you think?
From a competitive player standpoint, like I truly don't care. Like I just want to play the cards that are there. I think if like people want to talk about this, I tell them like go design your own game. Like that's where you should be at.
Fine, I will.
You should. I'll play test it for you. You can pay me. But I think I think the challenge of preparing for Worlds right now is very difficult because force throw is so insanely good. It's cheap. It's all the things that you guys just said. Like only Palpatine is safe from the flip. I guess like both Palpatines are safe from getting force thrown and killed. But like it's so challenging right now. And if like you love a good challenge and you're playing this game because it's hard, like this is it, because it is so difficult right now to figure out like what the hell to do in this force throw meta. And I think like anyone who's really like billing themselves as a competitive player, but also kind of like upset and calling for the ban in force throw is because they just don't want to put in the work, or like they don't have the time to put in the work, or they don't think they can put in more work than everybody else. From the point of view of someone who like really has a lot invested in this game and having it survive, I think that they absolutely should ban force throw. They're in for a rude freaking awakening in Las Vegas if they think that people are going to have a good time playing in the force throw meta. And it's not like they can hide behind their computers and pretend like they didn't read the Reddit thread, or they don't have access to the KTOD Discord, so they don't know. People are going to be in their face, telling them in person at the VIP breakfast with all the FFG employees, why did you do this to me? How dare you leave force throw unbanned? So I hope for the sake of the game and the game's thriving that they do make a decision to get rid of force throw. But as a competitive player, I've found it so fun and interesting. Like I have new challenges every day to get up and say like, all right, can I do this? Like, yeah, can I play zeros in my deck? Because some people will force throw me, especially if they think I'm only playing big things. So I think there's like some element of counterplay that makes it at least interesting from a deck building perspective. And then just to loop back to Data Vault, I actually would like call for the Data Vault ban. Like, I think if people want to add the cards to their deck now that they see that it's good, let them. But the 33 health thing is like, I mean, it's just made decks that were completely unplayable playable. And it does cut a lot of decks out of the meta. So again, from like a balance perspective, I think that they would be benefiting the greater community, especially the subset of people who aren't, trying to grind all day every day like some of us, or I guess like all 5 of us here. Sorry, 4 of us. Tatta, you don't grind all day every day. But like, for the grinders, whatever. But I do think that if 3,000 people are going to Vegas and you want them all to have fun, having them play in the Data Vault force throw Kiadi Mundi meta is not the most fun meta that they could possibly have given them.
Yeah, I agree. Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this card will get banned. It's just I don't think they're gonna ban it before Worlds. I think they're cowards. They
But
should ban it.
how bad does it look if they're like, all right, let's not ban it, and then like a week after Worlds, they're like, we were wrong. Like,
Yeah.
just
So
They
makes
did it with
people lose a lot
Django,
of
that
faith.
exact
I'm
order.
amazed we're getting this stream tomorrow. I'm genuinely amazed that they have a meta updates video stream coming out at this period.
They always do. Every set
Yeah,
they've done
yeah,
this.
yeah.
Pre-release
Every set
week,
they
they've
do.
always done
Yep.
it. So this is the thing. I think there's 2 things that they're looking at, right? And you can look at them as like the 2 worst outcomes possible. If you don't ban it, what's the worst outcome possible? That people complain about how busted it is, that they're forced to ban it afterwards, and they kind of look like they're idiots because there was like 8 of 8 decks in top 8 that are force throw decks or something, right? That's like the worst possible outcome. Now, if they do ban it, what's the worst possible outcome that could happen there? The worst possible outcome in my mind would be that we just basically have the set 4 meta and nothing has changed. And these new cards, like maybe we'll see a couple of them, like Kira plays some Timelies and some Vaders or something, or they switch to ECL and play ECL Vader. But it's still a Kira deck. It's still doing the same game plan. It's a soft control deck, whatever, right? Quinlan has some new force cards that they get to play. Maybe they don't even care about it anymore because force throw's not there. So then like, okay, sure, but like the same known quantity of stuff is all there and it's just the same meta. And to them it'll be like a design failure of the set because a lot of these cool cards didn't get the shine, right?
Yeah,
Now
but
you just have to weigh which one do you think they care about more.
But
And I
they
feel
obviously
like they
don't
want to sell cards, so they want their set 5 to look good.
agree
So
with that, but they need every other time it's been the same. I've been playing Sabine since set 1. You think it's because I like playing the same deck every single set? It's because legitimately they don't give other options, and it's happened every set. Yeah, we got Vader last set. That's 1 leader.
Yeah.
Like, how many leaders we get? Like, we get like 1 per
I
thing,
don't think a
maybe.
lot of set 5 cards will see play at Worlds anyway, just because the leaders are so underwhelming. Like, my opinion, and that's a
Except for
topic
Cal.
that we'll
Except for
get into
Cal.
later. But like,
Cal
it's
will win
just
Worlds. And...
a little
But yeah,
lacking.
basically all I'm saying is that it will definitely get banned. I don't think it's going to get banned tomorrow, but I think that in the evaluation that they're doing, they're just trying to make their set look good because more cards are getting played because they have the force tag, and therefore they think like it's a more success of a set. And I think that that's what the end result is.
Yeah.
I think if they truly like think about it, they would just ban it because it's the same. I actually think it's really similar to how Django felt when I was playing with TDR. It's like the games where I was playing Django and I drew TDR, I felt unstoppable. And then sometimes I would still win despite not having it. The games with the like force throw, if you draw like 2 force throws, I feel like I win every time.
Especially
Except
if your
maybe in a
opponent...
force throw mirror.
Yeah, well,
Maybe
your
they should
opponent only draws
restrict it.
1, you're good.
Right.
force throws.
Restrict it. Yeah.
That'd be
And
cool.
it's just like the disparity between like your deck drawing those cards and not drawing them is so like it's so large that's how you know it, like it's a card that really shouldn't exist.
Luckily, I drew 2 Kiadi Mundi, so I did draw all my force throws.
Well,
There it is.
Right.
Exactly.
Which just
Kiadi Mundi.
exacerbates the problem.
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens. My prediction is that they're not going to do anything at all. I think they should, but I don't think they will. So we'll see what happens. So just moving on to the next topic is a viewer submitted question. They wanted to hear our thoughts on if we think any alternative formats like draft, sealed, twin suns, etc., would be good for like competitive play, maybe a sector, maybe a PQ. What we'd like to see. Tyler, what do you think?
I'll start off with being quite negative. There's no way we will ever see Twin Suns being a competitive format and push it any tournament. If anyone wants to go
How is
and
that a negative?
watch
That's
CDH, well, if the question's in here, if people are asking about it, it's most likely they want to play Twin Suns. It's not fun. Playing a 4-player multiplayer game competitively is not fun. Of course, the CDH players and Magic will say it differently, but you're playing like a board game over card games, and it just becomes politics, and it is just a interesting experience, I'll say there. On the better sides of things I would like to see, I think draft is what everyone wants. Draft is definitely the classic. It's the easiest one for tournaments. Magic's been doing it forever with Pro Tours and Worlds. 3 rounds day 1, 3 rounds day 2. Sealed is a little bit more differently. That was used to be full tournaments where you play the entire event on just one sealed deck. Also could be interesting. I don't know if this game's limited sets are good enough in that sense. I haven't played limited in a while. It's not really kind of pulled me in, so I don't really know too much about it. But at least the set 1, set 2, set 3 limiteds weren't the most exciting for me to currently want to go into the tournament. I spend all day playing just limited.
Yeah, CJ, what do you think?
So I would love to see draft in these events, but maybe even sealed to some extent, depending on how the design looks. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I think this is going to be the biggest issue. They are not equipped to do that. I don't know if you've ever gone to a big Magic or Flesh and Blood event that's doing like limited stuff, but like, boy, that staff is on point. They have a lot of work to do. It's very difficult to judge and make sure no one's cheating. Right? It's really hard to make sure it all runs smoothly. And to be honest with you, at most of the big events I went to this year, it was a struggle to hand out like promotional prizes to start the game.
Oh yeah. Imagine them having people fill out sealed decks.
No, I cannot imagine that. And not to mention, and I know the judge program is new and it's going to get better, but boy, is there some serious discrepancies across all the PQs across the nation. I don't want to call anyone out, but I saw some real sketchy random things happen over the weekend at some PQs. And it just like the judges were okay with some of the stuff that was just blatantly wrong. And I can see that absolutely happening even worse when we start moving into limited at some of these events. And so right now, let's just stick with Premier. Let's get that buttoned up. Let's make sure we make the right calls. Like I had a weird like nightmare the other night about a judge getting a call wrong at Worlds. And like legitimately, I was like, I had like timely intervention by KTOD Monday, and like I had it in my head, like, oh yeah, I get the draw too. It's great. And the guy's like, no, you don't get the draw. And then the judge like, yeah, you don't draw. I'm like, well, let me talk to another judge. He's like, oh yeah, no, you definitely don't draw. And like I lose the match and lose Worlds. Like that shouldn't happen, but it's in my head because you hear these things right now. Like,
that's traumatizing. Holy shit.
That's what I'm saying. So like I'm just in my mind, I don't think we're where we need to be yet. We can get there, but we're just not there yet.
Do you think it would like spark a fire in the judge community to get better though? Like, is this maybe like a trial by fire if we have like a sealed sector or something?
It won't. No. They spend all their time talking about things that don't matter, and when there's actual cheating, it's always benefit of the doubt to the player instead of solution. They care about the scooping IDs, matter. And then when someone does cheat, whether they was intention to cheat or not, when they do cheat, it's like sweep it under the rug and like don't even talk about it. Like that's happened multiple times in this game.
But God forbid you concede.
But exactly. But you concede. There'll be a week-long talk about it. It's because they don't
repost on Reddit.
They don't want to have the difficult conversations for some reason about the actual things that cause cheating in the game. And cheating, in my mind, is yes, intent is very important, but breaking the rules is cheating. Period. Yeah. Yes, there's different level penalties based on how you did it. But if you don't understand how your cards work and you intentionally do something incorrectly, guess what? That's breaking the rules. That is cheating.
Well, that's a little,
it happens all the time.
Small side tangent there, but Mike, what do you think about the formats?
I love Tatta. I'm dying for limited PQs, and I would go so far as like I want a limited sector. Like I
Yes,
want
me too.
sealed. I want
Sealed?
sealed
Hell yeah.
Swiss for PQs. I want a sealed day one. I don't think it's that hard to accomplish in judging. You give someone a piece of paper, they check off all the cards. They do the like they roll the die, you pass it across and 3 to the right or whatever. It's pretty simple. Someone makes a mistake, you get a judge over there to initial the sheet. It's going to be fine. I love sealed because it rewards deck building. I'm always down for a format that's going to reward deck building, so I love that. You do have people who maybe aren't the best deck builders, and they get like a crazy bomb. Maybe they're not even good, like that good of a player, but they get a bomb, and it kind of
That
carries
doesn't
them.
exist in this game.
But I don't know. I guess it's like if you pulled like I don't know, like Vader. Like if you got Vader and Xian
I was
Fury
being
in your
facetious.
deck,
You're
okay,
right.
okay.
Yeah, you get
Like
the tank
you
that does
able to
one
do some
damage
work,
everything.
but then like that kind of gets mitigated at the top in the later rounds, and definitely like when you switch to draft top cut, right? Or if like a sector was day 2 draft, like that person.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that
would
like
fly with
top 64, you get 8
Yeah.
pods of 8. That's the perfect number to do a draft tournament. So you could do like day 1 full sealed, day 2 full draft, and that would be the coolest tournament ever.
Yeah, I want that sector, and I want the limited PQs, and like it's just again, like we just get so little opportunity to flex any kind of deck building skills, and there are tons of people who and good players too. I'm sure Tata, like you can understand this, but like messed up a pool, like messed up a build. I played a whole GP sideboarding after game 1. It made day 2 just by winning all my post board games because I hated my build so much. It just rewards reflection, it rewards play testing, it rewards like that deck building, and it's just going to add some element of fun. And I don't know much about Trilogy, like I haven't looked into it much, but like any format that is going to introduce banning things at the table is what I want. Like I want more decisions. If we're talking about a game that FFG by design isn't going to let us leverage much because they want us to play with these like super nerfed decks and super nerfed leaders, no combos, no mill decks, like give us something to sort of leverage. So like anything that we can do at the table, like if they had a seal that was like 8 packs, but you had to like build 2 decks or something, I don't know, but just like give us anything that we can start to like put more thought into it, put more prep. It's like a fantasy draft when the format's all wonky. Like you can't just like look at a sheet that you downloaded off the internet. You got to actually put the work in, and I think like that's what I'm really looking for with this game is give me a little more opportunity for trying to put the time in, trying to put the work in.
I agree. Ian, do you have anything to add to that?
I agree with Bobby Sapphire like 100%, man. That was awesome. I agree. The sealed and draft. I'm not a huge fan of sealed, but I think it's too hard to make like 800 people do draft from start to finish.
Yeah.
So for like a sector, you just make the day 1 sealed, and then like we said, day 2 just all draft. That would be my ideal like limited event if they're gonna do one. I hope that if they do end up doing something like that, though, that it feeds into something that is also limited, like the World Championship has limited rounds in it next year. Because if I always hated this with Magic, where there was sometimes where you would play a qualifying event with one format that would qualify you for a second event that wasn't the same format, which made you basically have to prep like 2 different things.
Mhm.
Now, granted, like limited is kind of like another format, but at least that's like limited, and a lot of the skills that you learn for limited kind of transcends every set, right? Obviously, you can learn within a set as well, but in Magic, like learning modern or standard was completely different, and that would be like the same thing once we have Eternal. Like if we had all these like standard PQs, but then they decided Worlds was going to be Eternal, like that wouldn't make any sense, right? Because you earned your way to Worlds by playing one format, and now you have to play another format. So it would be cool to see if there's like some sort of premier level, like major thing for limited if they start doing the smaller things also having limited. Like that would be a really cool way um to kind of show love to that format. I think Trilogy is really cool. I hope that they don't use the Eternal ban list eventually. Like if they do eventually make it a thing, like just keep it within standard, in my opinion. But that's I guess a smaller thing, but I think that's fine. Just again, make sure
Stop
that
trying to
if you
take Django away from me again.
Just one event. Let us have one event. That's it. I will do the worlds, and that's it.
I mean,
they could
speaking
even
of,
just say
like,
there's like standard Eternal standard trilogy and
Yeah.
Eternal trilogy, right? And like you could have them as 2 separate formats. That's fine.
Bobby Fett has entered the chat.
Going into
but
the tin.
the more formats that you present the player base for, you also have to give incentives down the line for why they're playing it. So like,
Yeah,
just give us more things.
No,
I
mats.
I've played
20 or
in
30 mats.
several like pro tour level events or worlds or
I just
nationals
understood
where
CJ's joke. I'm sorry.
they had like day one constructed, and then day two was draft, like Ian mentioned, and then top eight was standard again, and like they were some of the best tournaments I've ever played in. So
Yeah.
like I wish that this game would kind of deviate from the standard, like I mean worlds would have been perfect, right? Like there's what 24 freaking rounds of Swiss or
Yeah.
whatever it is, or eight and four, I don't know, but it's like some absurd amount of rounds and they're all the same format, and it's like, come on guys, like make top
Yeah.
64 draft something. I don't know.
Day one
Imagine how many
draft, make it happen,
imagine
that's
how
true.
many boxes we would have bought as a team if it was drafted.
Yeah,
worlds.
Right,
I
that's a
know.
way to-
We would have bought
I
how many
thought of that.
cases?
Well,
Like
so-
I can't even imagine.
yeah. So
Yeah, I mean that's
speaking
that's,
of
that part matters.
worlds,
Before we
well,
go away, I want to cut
yeah.
through one time. It's not necessarily a different format, but the most fun I have had playing this game was in Atlanta playing that team event.
3v3, yeah.
I think
a fun event
the
too.
3v3 team event was the most fun I've had playing this game. They've said on the stream that they are interested about exploring it. I saw all the hype for it. Frank, I hope Yaddle's next one is a team event as well. I need more of that. It was by far. We just played Premiere. It's not necessarily an alternate format, but the team aspect, the draft system, working with each other, it was the best.
All I'm gonna say is look to November, brother.
Can't wait. So that'll be on
Teams
a
are the
future
worst.
episode. We'll have Frank on to talk about
Collusion.
Beatle too. So we'll jump right into the next topic, which is the meta share of day 2 of Worlds with set 5 leaders. This is a question from a viewer. They wanted to know what we thought about set 5 leaders and what percentage of the meta they might take up after day 1. Ian, what do you think about this question?
I don't get to go first a single time tonight.
There's still
No, I mean every time we talk about Step 5 meta,
It's just
I
me and
always go
Ian.
first.
I do every time.
Literally every time. No, it's fine. So my prediction for the set 5 leaders is that Obi-Wan and Talzin will maybe have like 3 to 5% max, and no other leader will have more than 1%.
Nice.
I just don't think they're that great. Like
No,
at the end of the day.
I'm right there with you, buddy. CJ, I'll let you go second here. What do you think?
Whoa.
Number 2.
Yeah, I think Ian's got it. I don't even like Obi, to be honest with you. I think he's a little overhyped right now. I do think Talzin definitely has some game. And maybe there's a sleeper deck somewhere, right? Because the Force is powerful,
Kylo,
right?
maybe.
Kylo could be it. Stop telling
Kylo
people my
sucks,
words.
dude.
Can you ever just stop talking about my worlds deck? Jesus, secret. Yeah, Kylo could be something spicy. Like there is some spice there, so there's potential. But if
Just play Kira.
yeah, that's the problem. That is the problem. And I think realistically, I think I'm comfortable saying Talzin will have 1%.
Talzin's my favorite of
2%
them all. Yeah.
of it, because I think it is a skill expression deck too. So like a good pilot could definitely get a lot out of it.
Yeah, skill expression, draw more force throws.
Yeah, you don't have KTOD, so it's hard.
Hey,
It's
and
hard.
Force Lightning
So-
for that one too.
So you're
That one-
Yeah,
handicapping
Force
yourself.
Lightning. Force
Yeah.
Lightning's hot. Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with you guys on Talzin. I think she's by far the best of the 3. I think out of the 3, she also pairs best with Red. So like, we joke, but she is, I think, out of Kylo. So sorry, I think Talzin, Kylo, and Obi, those are my big 3 from set 5 that I think will make an imprint on the day 2 meta. But Talzin, the best of the 3, because she pairs with Red, because she's going to be the best force throw deck. She brings something new to villain, which is like insane 4-drops. That's like something that these villain control or even like villain mid-range decks have really suffered from in the past. And she gets like the 2 best 4-drops in the meta, essentially, just by like, playing Tyrannus and Talzin's Assassin. I think that Kylo will be a big part of the meta. I think people really like Kylo. I think people are really sick of the Kira grind. And I think a lot of people don't realize like the good thing about Kira is that when she can auto flip and stall the game out, and people want to see that with Kylo. They think that they can do the same thing with Kylo. It obviously just happens later, but you can just kill Kira with an open fire. You can't kill Kylo with an open fire. You have to do a little bit more work to get through him. And if decks don't prepare for him or aren't fast enough to be like killing before he gets out there, he can present like a pretty insurmountable wall that if you don't stop him, he just can keep feeding off of those upgrades as you just draw them and play them naturally. So I think that Kylo will probably see that like 3 to 5%, and I think Obi will probably be around 3%.
Hey, you know what card's really good against Kylo?
What's that?
Bamboozle.
Bamboozle is really good. I do like Bamboozle. I don't know how many people are playing Bamboozle right now.
I don't know.
I don't know how many people are playing Yellow Hero right now. I do have Bamboozle in some of my Yellow Villain decks at the moment, but I'm shout out to the KTOD
just another
group and
7-cost
list,
leader
so.
or whatever that gets disrupted by a 0-cost spell.
I will say though, bamboozling like a craving power back to their hand for them to use later on can be not great.
Yeah, you have to be able to end the game, and like it also doesn't exhaust him, which
And he's still a sentinel,
isn't
so like
nothing. Yeah,
that
he's
is a
still a
thing.
sentinel that's ready when you bamboozle him, so it could definitely be worse. It's not as much of a blowout when you do it to like Vader or whatever, but I think that because looping back to the whole idea that like I think the game is just like overly nerfed, sideboards are pretty wide open right now. You might play like 3 bombing run and it stops there of like things I actually need in my red deck. So people could just start packing things like Ravel's Falls for Kylo, because I think sideboards are super wide open. There's no deck that, because everything's a value engine, there are very few decks that you can heavily target. So you might just leave half your sideboard open for something like, okay, well, if anyone plays Kylo against me, I'm just going to Rivals Falls him. I think in general, though, the biggest problem with the Force leaders is that it just adds another hoop to jump through, both when it comes to like deck building and mulliganing and resource decisions. If you mull and you have a bricked hand, a lot of decks like never come back from that, or struggle to. But if you brick on a force draw and you're behind in the board and you can't get your force activated, you just like super nerfed yourself. So I think a lot of good players are realizing that these force leaders are not the way to go for Worlds, and that's why a lot of people are looking at Han. CJ mentioned earlier that like it's great because he doesn't need to do anything. You probably don't even ever need to flip him except for like when you're ready to burn for 3. But he also lets you just curve whatever you need. So you almost never miss turn 1, right? You're never actually going to miss a drop, and you never have to miss a force drop because you have essentially like a super curve. And all the other decks that are trying to play fair with the force are going to get blown out by opposing force throws when they don't draw them, or by a bad hand.
Yeah. Tyler, what do you think about the set 5 meta share?
Yeah, Talzin is just going to be it. It's really just kind of simple. We're going to see a little of Kylo, a little of Obi-Wan. Everyone's kind of spoke on this already. There's really nothing going to be too spicy at the rest of them. Day 1, I can see it. Day 2, it's just not happening. We're going to
ask you guys just real quick. What do you think the meta share will be for Han 2 in Day 2? Just give me a quick percentage of Han 2. No discussion. Just
all variants.
Just give me a number. Tyler.
I want to say like 30-40. Like off the top of my head, I want to say I think it's gonna be high.
A lot.
CJ,
I think it's gonna be high.
What did you say, Mike?
I think
I said 30.
30.
Yeah, I think
okay.
I'm thinking like 22%. And like that's probably realistic.
Okay.
And that's bad, right? That's bad action. That's like
Tyler,
high.
30 to 40, Mike 30, CJ 22. Ian, what do you think?
I'm going price of right rules only because I also like we've
1%.
never had this in our game ever where a leader was more than 20% of a meta share. So I'm gonna say 18% because I think that was peak Django was 18.
Well, keep in mind that I'm saying Day 2 meta share. Like
I know.
Okay.
Right. So all the
I
people
want to say like the
from
two
day
aspects
one,
are
all
like
the
50.
people, yeah. And then you have all 4 aspects in play. It gets pretty spicy.
Yeah, so I'm thinking Day 2 it's gonna be like 30%. Like I think Mike's right on the number there for.
I will say caveat:
Day
they
2.
ban force throw, that does change.
Oh,
sure.
I don't know if they're going to, but that would change.
Ban force
This comes out maybe after that happens. So
I know we didn't have majors back when Boba was alive, but like, was there ever an event that had 30% Boba at it, even at a PQ? Like, people in this game just don't do that.
Yeah,
They'll just
I
play
mean, I
their
think there
favorite
were some
leader because they're Star Wars fans.
I'm sure there had to have been some PQs back in the Boba era.
Well, there
when,
was
like,
one
all
big event
eights-
where the entire top 8 was Boba.
Right,
let
I'm
me
Top
tell you.
eight, I
saying.
agree with you. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, who knows? Maybe the entire top eight's Han too. But I think that like people are still gonna bring their like
Well,
beloved.
I mean,
whatever
usually
deck.
if that
Everyone loves
happens
Han
though,
Solo.
where the whole top 8 is one deck, that usually means that like there's probably a shit ton more right behind it. But
Look,
you
I
know,
didn't come here for ice cold takes. I'm saying 30%, and it's gonna be right.
hey,
I'm with you.
This
I'm
I
show's
with
called
you.
I don't
Underwhelming
think that's
Barrage.
cold
What
at
kind of
all.
takes were you looking for?
So, and then we'll wrap this up with the last question, last topic, which is another viewer one, and they wanted to know how we evaluate cards. You know, maybe that's not the most important part here, but they want to know like when someone disagrees with you, like a teammate or someone from the discords, how do you react? Do you try the card yourself? Do you just kind of go along with it? Do you talk with your friends about it? What do you think, CJ? Hit me.
Yes, yes. Funny you picked me to go first on this one because this is me often and always on the team. I'm
Yep.
pretty terrible right off the bat with guessing cards and their power. I will often say, "Man, that card's busted," and then like the first thing Wu says is like, "No, that card's terrible. Like, what are you even talking about?"
Look,
And-
Wu
and,
was
like-
like the ultimate like
Yeah,
no,
he's the
that
other
card
way.
sucks.
He's the other
Wet
way.
blanket.
But like I'm the guy who will put all the chaff in his deck because I like to feel it out, right? I like to see where it's good, how it actually plays on the table. So like for me, talking through with people is definitely very powerful, and you should do that, especially in the discords, non-public ones if possible, and your peer group. But then also when you're actually playing the cards, like try to play them, right? Don't always resource them. Try to have them in your hand, try to keep them, try to play them in their most ideal situations if possible, just to see what the power looks like. Because sometimes you do get surprised.
Tyler, what do you think?
Yeah, the classic deck building that I do is you put in like two of a new card you want to test. You see how it feels. You draw it. Be like, I want to draw this more. All right, move it bump to three of. Keep playing more games. I like this card. So you find out it's good, and you can then spread the taste. If it's stuff's not good, you get rid of it, etc., etc. Taking that and trying to discuss to your teammates about whether they're strong is definitely just going to be force them to play the deck and watch them play to make sure they're not just playing the deck how they would play and completely miss on the card. Show them this is how this works. Please try to use it to its maximum. Don't take the deck, see that it's terrible because you played it wrong, and now say that it's completely unplayable.
Ian, what do you think?
No one's ever done that on KTOD.
Well, just what with Tyler was saying, I would not suggest playing 2 in your deck if you're trying out a card. Just play 3 copies. Test it to its max. Like, just force yourself to play the card. Like, even if it's bad, just force yourself to see what happens. I mean, I have a lot of teammates, so this is like maybe not possible for everybody,
That's
but
an understatement.
the way that we do a lot of things in the Botha network is that we'll like if someone's like, hey, I want to try this card in a deck, we'll just whoever's like available, we'll just start jamming it and then report back, which is really nice because sometimes you don't have to do any of the work, but that also requires you to like trust your teammates. And if someone tells you like, hey man, I played like 20 games with this card, it's unplayable, you probably don't need to go back and test it out. Like, unless it's like something that's crazy out of whack, like they're saying, "Hey man, I tried that KTOD card and that card sucks," and like maybe they're not doing something right. But I think a lot of times, like, if you can rely on other people, if you're like busy doing stuff or whatever, or you're trying out something and maybe like you want to try it out in this deck, but you think that maybe this other deck's good, and you have a teammate that's really good on that deck, like ask them to just test it out for you. Like, do that.
Yeah.
But in terms of my own like card evaluations, I like to just try everything. So like when the set came out, I tried every single leader. I played like a couple of games with every single one, just to see like how they played. Obviously the decks aren't optimal, but that doesn't matter because like you just want to. It's like a feels thing, like it's a mood. It's like a tenacity that you kind of get, right?
Oh, with the
Like
shoulder shake, even. All right, I love it.
yeah.
I
You
mean,
know, like I really wanted to try out Ahsoka when she came out because I was like, we haven't really had anything that could like give Sentinel on demand. That seems like it could be powerful.
Yeah.
turns out it's not powerful enough, but I learned that. And like a lot of times you just got to do that dirty work. Like what Mike was saying earlier, like just put in the time, put in the effort, you'll reap the rewards. Sometimes you just got to do that.
Yeah, well, for us, we have Alex and Woo, where like anytime like CJ and I will like suggest something because I feel like we're the ones that kind of like always suggest really crazy cards, and like every time it's like, nah, that card sucks. Nah, that card's unplayable. It's like, all right,
I remember the first
fair
time
enough.
I played Sabine's Masterpiece against and Alex is like, "Oh, that card's awful. It doesn't do anything."
Well,
And I was
it
like,
it
"It's
wasn't a
only the
Han card at
answer
the
to your."
time, so yeah,
It was the answer to the Han deck.
yeah. Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, Ian kind of out of me here, but like obviously my answer is gonna be you got to get the games. I like Ian's point about his big team, and when you have players that you can trust, that maybe you don't need to get the games. But if you're the kind of person who it's gonna nag at them that they didn't get it, like you do have to go get the games and believe in your testing, because people are gonna disagree with you. People are gonna tell you that that card isn't good. But if you're getting good reps, like finding good opponents, playing against people you know are good with good decks, and making good decisions, not just donking off, playing cards at random, but actually being thoughtful about your testing, then it doesn't matter what anyone else says. You're just going to know. I've lost a ton of games to Ogdo Bogdo, but when I put him in my Hantu blue deck, I lost 9 in a row. Like straight up, when I led with him, I could not win. And even though I know a lot of people like him, I know he's a good card. I'm not going to play him, and because I don't win when I play them. And my recommendation to people always asking for advice on lists, and because I post all my lists, I get a lot of, oh, no, this, you didn't include this, why not this? And I don't want to litigate every card choice I make, but if you put in the time, you will find the cards that you like to play and want to play. So I always tell people, like, if you like the card in that slot, that's what you should be playing. I think not a lot of people on my team like the 5-drop Asajj from the new set. I love her. I've been using her in a ton of my decks. I think she's great. But not everyone agrees with me. But I know from putting in the time that, like, if I need a 5-drop and I'm playing a force deck, like, that's who I'm going to look to, because I've gotten the games. And we don't all have to agree. We don't all have to play the same list. I think oftentimes working too hard to agree is probably a detriment to your team and your play testing and the work that you did.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, it's a great point. And we'll just leave it at that. And after that, I have to say that the winner undoubtedly
Is
is
Tyler?
Bobby Sapphire.
Oh.
Wow. I see how it
Wow.
feels.
Tyler, I don't know what happened, man, but you just couldn't keep up with the fire of all
Man,
the
I've been
hot
thinking about
takes.
this all day. I've been ready.
So, Mike, hit us. 30 seconds. What you got?
All right. I got confirmation from FFG that with my gameplay in season 3, I would have qualified for Worlds. FFG should do the right thing and give me a courtesy invite to not have to play day 1 of Worlds. Magic does it. Tatta, the Versus system did it. They invite, people get sponsor invites, sponsor exemptions. Hook your boy up. I worked hard. Let me go to the pool on day 1.
Yo, wait, that's awesome.
Hashtag day one pool.
I agree.
He
Do it,
wants the Cabana
FFG.
invite. He
Do
wants
what's
it.
right. You banned Django and TDR from him. You know what you need to do.
You
Man,
took it from me.
Boba took everything.
Guys, thanks for coming on this week for episode 5, and we will see you next week for episode 6. Peace.
Have a
See ya.
nice night.